designers, and welcome back to My Sketchbook. This is the first day for the daily October videos. I'm going to make all intros short and sweet. This video, I've made it because I'm passionate about it. I'm gonna give you the different ways you can organize your presentation board. So say you are an interior design student and you're creating your first presentation board, or I don't know, your graduation presentation board. This is gonna be helpful for you because I'm gonna give you the different elements, the different tricks, how to arrange the layout and how to make it as nice and as engaging to the eye as possible. I don't want to brag, but it was my specialty back in university. Without further ado, let's get to the video. As interior designers, we use presentation quite a lot. Think about it like this. If you go ahead and prepare a gourmet meal to serve it to your loved ones, or to serve it to anyone, to serve it to yourself because you are the most deserving of your love, you put everything that you spent hours and hours preparing just on top of each other, would it taste as good? There's an Arabic proverb that the eye eats before the mouth does, which I think is very true. So it's the same thing with your work, whether it's with a client or whether you are just presenting for your professors. You probably spent hours and hours working on this project, so presenting it in an engaging way is not a hard thing. It's about technique. And let's talk about technique. First of all, what do you need exactly to start your presentation preparation? What you need is a list of the stuff that you have. So you probably have the plans, you have the site plans, you have the concept, and you have the design development, partially programming, and the other part is the schematic design. And then you have your final product, which is the color plan, the renders, and everything in between. So what we want to do, before you start doing that, understand what your professor requests you to do, like what size do they prefer for you to print it on, whether it's landscape or portrait, because each interior design program is unique and they require you to have some certain rules. So do ask about that. If you don't want to follow the rules, it's totally up to you. Live your life. The second and the most important thing in this whole equation is to have a story. It sets you apart from your colleagues. If you want the professors to pay attention to you and to pay attention to what you have to present, is to create a story. Stories usually consist of three parts. So there is the beginning, there's the middle, and then there's the end. In the beginning, you talk about the problem, like what kind of problems did you face during the design? Was there a plan that was given to you and there was like a really weird nook that you had to design, and then you had to overcome this hurdle to go ahead and move on to the next step of the design? This is why you need design development on your presentation, because it kind of tells the story of how it worked out. When you're presenting for a client in the future, talking about the problems of the rooms as well, help them see that you actually had given it your best thought to plan the space according to their needs. The problem in that scenario is having the ultimate functioning space there is, and the middle part is how you take them through your thoughts process. You trying different zoning methods and understanding how you're blocking the spaces and how you actually thought about the circulation, you thought about everything, because you want to be a good designer. It's not only about aesthetics. So you move on to the final part, which is the conclusion. All of this together makes it a nice story to tell. So when you have a story to tell through your design, it's always more engaging to the eye and to the ear, and it will make you more confident because you have a nice line of thoughts. Why am I saying this before showing you anything else? Because you kind of need the sequence. Lay out all of your presentation boards. Understand what elements will you gather together to tell your story. For the presentation of the project, there are three different ways that you can go. So the first one is the grid. We talked about the grid before, so whether it's in landscape or in portrait, you can use the grid to kind of emphasize on what you want your jury to focus on while you're explaining your design. Or you can use your concept as a part of your presentation board, or you can use something as your focal element. Usually when you have presentation boards, it's not just one, it's plenty of them. So you want to kind of think about that. So right now what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to show you some like stupid project that I was working on my iPad. I kind of wanted to show you as well how to do it in an aesthetic manner. And I took a bedroom layout that looks kind of like my bedroom, and I kind of had the elements of design next to it. So I followed the grid, and I'll show you exactly step by step how I did it. Hey guys, so right now I'm going to show you what I did on my iPad as an example for you. This is one of the examples. I'm still not done with it yet, but it's been practically, I'll show you the finished product right here. And what I tried to do with this one is fixate on the materials, so the finishing touches, the FF&E, furniture furnishings and equipments. I tried to show the direction I'm going with the furniture, the wallpaper, and as well to indicate each finish. What I did is I kind of made those little letters. So for example, for the A, it has a cross-reference in the plan and it's indicating to the curtains. So this is one of the examples. I also made you another example. Let me show you. The other example that I made from scratch is this guy. This is the second example that I tried to make for you guys, and I'm particularly proud of this one. Now these plans are real plans and they are for room sets in IKEA. And this was the visual identity, this was the mood board. And the way I tried to do this is, first of all, I kind of made a grid, but just making the squares equal squares, put it onto my sheet, and then I kind of tried to focus on the biggest plan for it to be the one that has all of the furniture and kind of has labeled furniture. And for the rest, it's just like the color scheme, the perspective to give out the mood a little bit. And I sketched this as well. And then I kind of put zoning, so the bubble diagram, I put it there just to understand what to explain. I'm gonna remove the grid now. There's also the title block. So the way I'm going to present is that I have the story, so I can start with the story and the concept. The concept of this room was homesick, because these people are from Philippines and this is a small room, and I kind of wanted it to function for them because they had a baby. And so I can say the story and then talk about the concept, how Manila is such a beautiful with a lot of tropical items. So what I wanted to bring into their home in here, this tropical feel. And that's exactly what happened with the visual identity. You can see that I wanted the wooden touches, a little bit of leather, and I wanted to emphasize the sense of them working from home, because I know a lot of people try to side hustle and, you know, work on an online business or something. And then I kind of wanted to show the exaggeration of the wallpaper on the background as well. So it's purely aesthetic, but it also kind of connects with a story about we're living in the urban jungle or the concrete jungle, but they still have a sense of home in their house here. Now, typically when you have plans, you want to show them to scale. Now, those plans are not to scale because I just strictly made them for the video. But usually what you want to do is label everything. And you see my mistake here as well. Let me highlight my mistakes for you so you can learn from them. Because to me it was more about the aesthetic and how to arrange the board than make everything accurate. So to me, this is the first thing that I don't like about this, and my pen is not working. It's not responding to me at all. Great. Okay, I'm out of charge almost in every way, but it's okay, we're gonna make it work. So my mistakes here is basically, if you see the spacing between this plan and this plan and this plan, the spacing is not perfect. Ideally, what you want to have is perfect spacing with the title of each drawing. So we do have the title here, but we don't have the scale. So typically you would want to work on adding labels, adding your scale, and if it's not to scale, you can just write NTS. So you can keep it true and honest to what you've done. And what I would like to do as well is I would like to show more of the design development like this. This is a very nice move. You can explain exactly how your thought process went, talking about how there's a sleeping area here, but also we wanted to keep the baby function together. So baby sleeping plus baby changing next to each other for convenience. And also we can talk about the storage, that it's right next to the baby. So this is a really nice touch to understand the thoughts of your process and to talk about the story a little bit. So I would add a little bit more of the design development. Maybe this is taking too much, but I feel like it's adding the whole board. And I would divide things up on different boards. So maybe my design development can be a board on its own, and then I can have my other boards to be the solution, which is the plans, and finally the renders, which I have everything for this project, but as we progress through these videos, I'll show you more of it. So yeah, 5% remaining for the battery. If anyone wants to gift me an iPad, please go ahead. Thank you very much. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Maybe I am. I'm kidding a little bit, okay? So what I would do differently is, let me give you a heart attack. So I would have different boards for different parts of the story. And I would list very clearly what would go on each board. So for example, for the first board, you can have the concept, the mood board, the story, who's living there, who's your client. And then you can have a little bit of the design development, and you can have maybe some of your schematics, like the study of the space. And then on the next board, what you want to do or what you want to have. Wow, guys, my aesthetic is on point. So for the second board, which is the middle, we want to have the plans, we want to have any drawings, and we want to have some details to explain the plans, and also everything should be labeled nicely. For the third board, I would strictly stick to aesthetics, so renders, sketches, and maybe have the main plan. If you have a colored plan, that would be ideal, so it kind of has all of the aesthetic points. These are all for final, so it's the conclusion of the design. It doesn't mean that you can't have the render as a background in this board and in this board to kind of remain consistent, but like preferably this would be your process in general. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great time of the day wherever you're in the world. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell and like this video if you want. Follow me on Instagram, this is my handle, and have a great time of the day wherever you are. Bye!